Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. It's the afternoon, not the morning. What can I say? A lot of shopping and preparation for the holiday. So, for those who are celebrating the solstice, my pagan brethren, or for my astronomical people who are out there studying what's going on in the heavens, or just for the people who just like to celebrate, because we also have Christmas coming up, the birth of Lord Jesus, as the Irish say. And even though you might not be Catholic, like a person like me. When I married into the Irish family, they introduced me as one of the Lord's people. And then there's the full moon, so make the most of it. There's a lot of high energy out now. So it's Thursday. It's storytelling day. This is called the Crescent Moon Bear. Strangely enough, my teacher heard this from a Japanese World War II veteran in Hinsdale, Illinois, at the Veterans Hospital. So interesting. It came from Japan through this guy, and here's in Illinois teaching us all the Crescent Moon Bear. Once there was a woman who lived in a beautiful pine fragrant forest and whose husband was away at war. And then news came that he was coming back from the war, but she didn't realize what a foul mood he was going to be in. So she was so excited that before she came, she baked all the favorite dishes, and she made the tofu, and she made the seaweed, and she made the umabashi plum, and just all the favorite delicacies they liked. And she dressed in the finest kimono. She couldn't wait till he came home. And then when he finally arrived home, she brought him all the food and said, "Here, my husband, I'm so happy to have her." And he was just like an enraged animal. He just like bashed the food out of her hand and threw it on the ground. Everything went to waste. And she was so frightened of him, she couldn't even be with him. And she tried a few days after to bring him, didn't work. So she didn't know what to do. So she knew that there was an old healer who lived in one of the caves nearby. So she walked into the cave. She walked in so far she couldn't even see the light at the beginning of the cave. And when she got deep, deep into the cave where it was so dark, she saw this flickering light. And there, sitting in the fire, was the old healer. But the healer's back was to her, so she didn't know if it was a man or woman or what. And she said, "I've come to you because I'm out of my wits' mind. My husband came back from the war and he's in such a bad mood. I can't even get to him in any way. Is there no potion you can give me that can make him loving and gentle like he was before?" Gabriel said, "Yes, well, there is something I can give you, but I'm lacking one ingredient." She says, "What is it? I'll do anything to get it." "I need one hair from the crescent at the throat of the black bear. Hmm? If you can pluck one hair from the crescent moon in that bear's throat, we can use that for the potion." She said, "Oh, okay, great. I'll do that." So off she went. She baked some food to offer the bear, and she started climbing up the mountain. And with every point of climbing up the mountain, she gave thanks. Arigato Zaisho, for all of the earth that was supporting her feet as she came up. And as she had to step over boulders, Arigato Zaisho, for all of the hardness of the rocks that helped propel her up. And Arigato Zaisho, when she passed by the trees that left uh, their branches apart so she can pass through. And then she saw all these strange birds cawing and moaning, and she knew that these were the Muen Hotoke, the restless spirits who didn't have any relatives to pray for them, so they wandered like in the purgatory realm. And then when she realized that, she says, "I'll pray for you. I will be your relative." She did that. And finally, she started seeing signs of the bears, the chords of scat. So she, "No, the bear must be around here." She kept tracing it, tracing it. Finally, she saw the bear cave. And she saw the bear disappear into the cave. So she put the food out. And the bear came out sniffing the food, looking in all directions to see if it was okay, and then gave a tremendous roar. Everything, the earth was shaking, and then took the food and ate it. And she repeated that again and again. And each day, she put the food closer to the cave, and she stood first far away from the cave, and the bear could see her. And then she came closer and closer and closer, till finally she put the food, and she was right behind the food. The bear came out and stood up on its hind legs and roared so much that she was trembling in every bone of her body. But then she spoke to the bear and said, "Please, bear, I've come all this way to help my husband. I need a hair from your crescent moon on your throat to use for a potion to make my husband loving again." And the bear seemed to kind of understand what she was saying. And so he spoke, because in these stories, animals can speak to you. He said, "All right, I'll lift my head and take one hair and take it quickly, and then go back to your own people." So she reached up to his throat. He lifted his head. So see, she pulled it out. Arr, he roared like that. And off she went. Arigato Zaisho, thank you, thank you, thank you. And all the way back down the mountain, she kept thanking everything, thanking the birds and thanking the trees and thanking the rocks and thanking the earth, till finally she got back to the healer's cave and said, look, I got it, I got it. She handed it to the healer, and the healer looked and said, this truly is a hair from the crescent moon's throat, the bear. So she threw it into the fire. What? What'd you do that for? She says, don't worry, all is well. What are the steps that you took to get the hair from the bear? Proceed with those steps with your husband, and all will be well. And that was the healer's legacy to give, and how to deal with somebody who's involved in rage. It's so toxic. Nobody really wants to deal with it. No one can even bury it somewhere. But we have a world that's like that right now. And so maybe these are steps in some way that each one of us can find how to deal with our own rage. All right, so to finish off for today, I just want to keep reminding myself that I try to look at what is my dominant vibration. What are the thought forms that keep revolving around? My whole life seems to rotate around that. And I want to make that what I call my point of attraction. If there's some kind of reciprocity based on the law of attraction, so I always like to repeat, that which is like unto itself is drawn, then there's some reciprocal relationship between the thoughts I have and how my life turns out. I started yesterday by reminding you the discourse on the Buddha's blessing from Mangalam Sutra. And again, I just want to share with you because this makes so much sense to those of us who are working on themselves and trying to improve not our own life, but the life of the world. So the Buddha says, to generously give to others, to deliver integrity, to care for everyone you consider family, to avoid doing harm, to be careful with intoxicants, and to incline your mind to well-being so you develop wholesome states of consciousness, to be respectful, humble, content, and grateful, and regularly bring spiritual teachings into your life. Don't divorce the secular world from the spiritual world. They're really one and the same. The only difference is where's your intention to do consecrated action. And then be patient, be open to learning, and be in touch with people who are on the spiritual path so you can discuss these things with people, not the naysayers, not the doubters, but the people who are aligned with the same values that you are trying to live. And remember, spiritual to me means asking the big questions, what it's all about. Now, the best way to understand this, the best way to live it, is to really be in the here and now, to give your whole attention to whatever's present in front of you. For so many people, they do things that are bound up with time. I can't do it now, I'm not there now, but maybe if I continue to strive in the future, I'll get there. Time is continuity, and truth is timeless, not continuous. So it can always be experienced in any given moment, but your interest must be solely to be absorbed in the moment. And to be open is not a matter of time. You either are or you're not. So your intention to understand this stuff is what helps you to be instantly receptive. And then if you are, I remind you that from yoga's point of view, there's only one teaching, only one practice, opening your heart. It'll bring you to the contrite heart, to the forgiving heart, and to the praising heart. And so in terms of the simple ethics of how we get along in life, correct yourself on the same principles you correct others, and excuse others on the same principle you excuse yourself. Have a great solstice. Peace.